What's going on everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Soman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Premier League game between Manchester United and Arsenal. So Manchester United lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation, which was mostly shifted to 4-5-1 without possession, with both the wingers Daniel James and Andreas dropping in the midfield and helping their team defensively. While Arsenal on the other hand lined up in a 4-3-3 formation, which was mostly shifted to 4-1-4-1 on the ground, with Xhaka dropping in between the lines and covering the spaces in between the lines. Jesse Lingard was playing as a number 10 in this game, and he was constantly moving in between the lines to find small pocket of spaces. Both the Manchester United wingers were staying very wide initially, to pull the Arsenal fullbacks out and to create spaces in between the centre-back and the fullback for Jesse Lingard's runs. The ball goes to Daniel James, who pulls Callum out, and now Lingard is free to run in the space in between the centre-back and the fullback. So in order to deal with this issue, Xhaka dropped in between the lines, and he started to man-mark Lingard, and he was also closely following the runs of Lingard. Arsenal's defensive formation of 4-1-4-1 with Xhaka covering Lingard in between the lines. Once again, Callum moves wide to cover Daniel James, and the space is once again left open between him and Sokratis, but now Xhaka is closely following the runs of Lingard. But this is where Manchester United made another change. Andreas Pereira, who was playing at the right wing, also started to drop in between the lines to create 2v1 against Xhaka, with the help of Jesse Lingard. Marcus Rashford has moved to the right wing and Xhaka is covering Jesse Lingard. Andreas has dropped in between the lines to create 2v1 and he is now totally free in the midfield, with so much space and time. Jesse Lingard once again pulls Xhaka wide and Andreas drops in between the lines to find so much space and to receive the pass to continue the attack of Manchester United. Torreira and Guendouzi were keeping a tight marking on Pogba and Scott McTominay, so they also could not drop back to cover Andreas whenever he dropped in between the lines. So in order to deal with the threat of Andreas and to stop the overload, Kolasinac often left his line and he tried to cover Andreas in between the lines. But that left the gap open at Kolasinac's position, and Rashford often moved to the right wing to exploit that same gap. Andreas once again dropped in the midfield, and this time Kolasinac leaves his line to cover Andreas. But that has opened the gap for Young to pick Rashford. Rashford often received the ball in some very good areas, but his end product in this game was very poor. He had a passing accuracy of only 63% and he lost possession 12 times in this game. Arsenal under Unai Emery mostly built their play from the back, and they tried to do the same in this game as well. But they were very soon forced to change their build-up style. Very nicely organized high press from Manchester United, all the passing options are well blocked, and Callum under pressure plays a long ball and Arsenal lost possession. Manchester United's very nicely organized high press made it really difficult for Arsenal to build their play from the back, and thus Arsenal decided to go with a more direct approach. Not taking any chances anymore and going with a more direct approach. But this direct approach was also very favourable for Manchester United because they had a clear height advantage in the midfield. Pogba and McTominay were easily able to win the aerial duels against the Arsenal midfield. Manchester United without possession keep a very high defensive line as they try to press their opponents high up the ground. So Arsenal in the first half mostly tried to take their chances on counter-attacks, using the pace of Aubameyang and the passing range of David Luiz. Manchester United's high defensive line, David Luiz wins possession and he immediately plays a first-time pass behind the high line for Aubameyang. Aubameyang to Nicolas Pepe, who had time and space to score the goal. And this brings us to Nicolas Pepe, who had a very poor game. Nicolas Pepe lost possession 17 times in this game. According to many, Pepe's real strength is his dribbling and the ability to win the 1v1 battles. But in yesterday's game, Pepe only made one successful dribble, and out of the total 6 1v1 battles, he was only able to win 2. Arsenal were not so good in the first half, but they came out really strong in the second half. Arsenal decided to move both their fullbacks high up the ground, and they once again tried to use David Luiz's passing range to isolate the Manchester United fullbacks in 2v1 positions. Daniel James has dropped in the midfield, but he is not tracking the run of Callum, who has moved up to overload the right flank, and David Luiz immediately tries to take benefit from Daniel's advanced position. Daniel James did not track the run of Callum, and now the fullback is left in a 1v2 position. Daniel James once again easily taken out with a long pass, and the fullback is once again isolated in a 1v2 position. Callum to Aubameyang, who delivers a wonderful cross inside the box for Torreira, who should have scored the goal. These wide overloads were working very nicely for Arsenal, but their finishing let them down. Overall, this game did not offer much in terms of creativity and intensity. The attack of both the teams looked really poor. Aubameyang and Daniel James were the only two players who were making things happen for their respective teams. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.